Hello friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Mina. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my completed coloring pages for the month of February and March 2025. I worked in about 7 books and did about 15 pages. So I'll take this stack away and then we can begin with the flip through of the colored pages. The first book is Hugo Place by Coco Wyo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but let's just go with it. And my Coco Wyo books were actually birthday presents from two of my lovely friends. So thank you so much for these beautiful gifts. I've been having a lot of fun coloring in this book. And this is one of the pages I did in March. I didn't go in with a color palette or anything like that. I was just winging it and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I worked mostly with alcohol markers and I used colored pencil for a little bit of shading on the leaves and then on the tulips. And yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out and I really love this page. It's one of my favorites out of this book so far. I also did this one. This is actually a YouTube short on my channel, so if you're interested in seeing the process, I will link it up and you can check that video out. So because it had a lot of leaves and strawberries, I knew I was going to use greens, and the strawberry is also red, so I decided to make the sofa red too, so that there's a little bit of cohesion throughout the page. And then I made the leaves yellow for a little pop of color. For the background, I decided to go with a very pastel and muted color so that it doesn't draw away from the main element on the page. And the cat, I decided to make him an orange cat, and he's sleeping. He looks so peaceful. So yeah, I'm happy with how this page turned out as well. So it's mostly alcohol markers and colored pencils and white gel pen for highlights. And this is the very first page I did in this book. And for the gloves, I made it pink because in Korea, when you watch like Korean movies, they always wear the pink gloves when they are making kimchi and things like that. So I don't know if it works well with the entire picture, but it was kind of like a symbolic something. I couldn't think of any other color apart from pink. So I did all the elements like the watering can and then the flower pot for the cactus. And after a few hours, I just decided to add this brownish like shading so that it feels like the elements are grounded and not just floating in the air. So yeah, this is my very first attempt in this book. And then I also did this page, and I also have a shot of this page. So for this one, I looked for reference on how this looks like. I don't even know how it's called, but yeah, so the reference pictures were mostly like orange and yellow and brown, like the color of honey. So I went with that color scheme, and then I repeated the colors here and on the house as well. And for the flowers, I just decided to add a little pink and yellows to bring a pop of color. And I also experimented with like a stone pavement. So as you can tell, I'm very new to this whole bold and easy and alcohol marker coloring trend. So I'm just playing around and experimenting with things to see how it works. And so far, I think it's been going well. And finally, I did this art page, and yeah, I decided to make it as colorful as possible because it's an art shop. And I decided to do the brush, the palette, and the paint tubes whitish because like the ones I have, my brushes and my palettes and my paint tubes white. So yeah, I decided to go with that reference in real life, and I'm happy with how this turned out. So again, it was alcohol markers with colored pencils. For these reddish like flowers, I use my fine tip acrylic markers to do that effect. And yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out. Next, we have Comfy Days by Coco Wyo, and I did this test color page. I really had fun doing this one. It was so relaxing to do. And here I added like gold gel pen, and I think the gold and the red really go well together. So I think I'll be using those two color combinations quite often. I also did this page, and yeah, it was really cozy, really nice and easy to do. I like how I did the brick and then the curtains. I'm not too sure about the clouds and the like stars, but yeah, I'm still learning. I'm not really sure about the white gel pen placement too, but I'm just going with the flow and doing what feels right in the moment. And yeah, this is how this page also turned out. I have another page, but it's a body color with a friend, so I don't think she's ready, so I'll wait for her to be done and then I'll show you that page probably in my next month video. The next book is this watercolor coloring book by Go In John, and I've been working in this book consistently since last year, and I did this tulip page, and this is how it turned out. So I was trying to replicate this original painting. I used watercolors and colored pencils for shading and for details. It's springtime, so it feels nice to be able to color pages like this. And then I also did this page. It's a flower blooming between the stone steps and that's the name of the painting. So yeah, I'm really happy with this page as well. I like how the stone steps turned out. I think I'll use what I learned from this painting and apply it in my like coloring or painting works in the future. So those are the only two pages I did in this book. Next, we have You Are My Star by Kim Star. I like the way it rhymes. Anyway, so this is the page I did this month. And for this book, my intention is to color one page a month because the book is divided into months. And this is the page for the month of February. But I was only able to finish in March. So as you can see, it's mainly based on the reference picture here, but I looked for the flower, which is myosotis, and I saw that there are variations of purple and pinks. So I decided to add a little purple to the flowers, and over here too, I also added a bit of yellow to the birds. And I mostly use watercolor as a first layer, and then almost everything was done with colored pencils. For this window part, I made the huge mistake of using this fine tip water pen, which worked well for the small areas, but the large areas it was so streaky that I had to go over again with colored pencil. It reduced the effect, but it's still a little visible. So then I went over again with gold acrylic marker for the dots, and then I used this glitter glue for like the shiny things on top of the gold acrylic marker. So it's mainly to hide the streakiness of the window, and yeah, to serve as a decorative something as well. So this is how it finally turned out. I particularly like the hair. I don't know if the glitter is shining or something like that, but this is how this page turned out. Next is another book I've been working in quite consistently for about 2 years now, and I did one page, and this was it. And I really like this page. I mean, it's simple. The guy is just like sitting down, he's crossed his legs, his arms, he's like chilling and all that. And yeah, I mean, it's very simple, so it feels really relaxing to look at, in my opinion, and I really like it. So I used watercolor as a first layer, and then I went over with colored pencils, so mainly those two mediums, but the background I use oil pastels, and then I use gel pen for like highlights on the nose, the lips, and then the buttons. So yeah, that's all for this page. Next, I worked in 30 Days of Creativity by Johanna Basford, and I did this page. So I did this page for February, Valentine's Day, and then I completed this page in March. So I also have a video of this on my channel if you're interested in that. And the aim was to fill the empty hearts with shapes and doodles and colors and patterns, things like that, which I did. So I did the classic red heart, I did the broken heart, but some I filled with stars and flowers. And yeah, it was a really fun and creative exercise. I mostly used colored pencils and sometimes watercolor as a first layer, and then I went over with colored pencils. For the pen, I use my micron fine liners, and I also use oil pastels for the background and gel pen for like the white dots. I was trying to, I don't know, do something to make it shimmer or shine. And yeah, I also did this page, and the instruction was like, oh, if you have more ideas you could draw more hearts. And then I was like, no, I have no more ideas, I'm tired of drawing and coloring hearts. So yeah, but it was a really nice exercise to do. I also did one page from color drawing by Pinkfoot, and I did this underwater page. So this is the very first time I've done any underwater painting or coloring, and I quite like how it turned out. I didn't use a reference or a color palette. I didn't plan anything. I like doing that because for me it's fun to experiment, and it feels like a puzzle anytime I get to a point and I'm like, what color should I use? So for the plant, I wanted it to be bright yellow and green, but the rest sort of just happened. For the jellyfish, if you're wondering, it's supposed to be glowing. I don't know if it looks like it's glowing, but yeah. And yeah, I really like how the shell, the quill, and the other elements, especially the bubbles. So I used watercolor. The book is not really meant for watercolor, but you know, sometimes colorists are stubborn. So I use watercolor, and then I went over with colored pencils for shading and details, and then I used the white gel pen for highlights. And I think it was a very good way to end the coloring month. So that's all the pages I have for the past 2 months. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what page was your favorite. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. And yeah, it really means a lot. Until next time, have fun making art, coloring, and exploring your creativity. Bye bye.